This is Myron C. Fagan. During the past 20 years of my more than 60 years of experience on Broadway and in Hollywood, as a playwright, director, and producer, I have received many thousands of letters from fans and worshipers of the movie stars who have been identified by congressional committees and the FBI as collaborators in the Red conspiracy to destroy our country, asking me why and how their idols have become Reds, and pleading with me to assure them that it is not true. Unfortunately and regretfully, I cannot give them that assurance. I say regretfully because the vast majority of those Red stars have been my close friends through all the years that I have been on Broadway and in Hollywood. But in this recording, I will endeavor to show how and why they joined in the Red conspiracy. The most thrilling and most glamorous phase of life in our country always has been the world of entertainment. At the turn of the century, that world of entertainment was primarily the living theater, Broadway. In 1907, I became a part of that world as a playwright, director, and producer. Then some years later came the movies, and a new glamour world came into existence. It was called Hollywood. But until 1930, Broadway was my world. Then as the movies were transformed into what they then called the talkies, I came to Hollywood. As a result, I came to know both worlds well. During all the years from 1907, practically every known star, from Mrs. Leslie Carter, Douglas Fairbanks, Helen Morgan, Clark Gable, and many others, appeared in one or more of my plays and films or under my direction. All of them were close friends. Now bear in mind, until that night, more than 99% of the American people had not had the slightest knowledge that their idols had been involved in this heinous, treasonous conspiracy. So you can imagine the horrifying shock that rocked that audience when I named the following great celebrities as the guilty ones. I don't have enough space to name all of them, but here are a few of them. First of all, I named Charlie Chaplin, who together with a full dozen other top stars had signed a secret radiogram to Joe Stalin pledging allegiance to the Soviet Union. I followed with Lucille Ball, whose home had for years been the headquarters for the chief Hollywood Red activists. Then I named Lauren Bacall, Humphrey Bogart, Marlon Brando, Lloyd Bridges, Lee J. Cobb, Betty Davis, Olivia de Havilland, Kirk Douglas, Melvin Douglas, Douglas Fairbanks Jr., Henry Fonda, Ava Gardner, Rita Hayworth, Katharine Hepburn, Lena Horne, Chet Huntley, John Ireland, Burl Ives, Danny Kaye, Gene Kelly, Burt Lancaster, Peter Lorre, Myrna Loy, Frederick March, Groucho Marx, Burgess Meredith, Henry Morgan, Paul Muni, Gregory Peck, Vincent Price, Edward G. Robinson, Frank Sinatra, Orson Welles, Leonard Bernstein, Stanley Kramer, John Huston, Norman Mailer, Arthur Miller, Otto Preminger, Howard K. Smith, Billy Wilder, and Langston Hughes, infamous for his poem Goodbye Christ, plus the later infamous Hollywood 10, headed by Dalton Trumbo, John Howard Lawson, Lester Cole, Edward Dmytryk, etc., etc. All of them were later convicted at the congressional hearing in Washington. At least 70 of the Reds I named in my speech were in the audience. I dared all of them to challenge my charges and to sue me if it ain't so. None of them challenged me. Not one of them ever sued me.